That's a new
Booyah!
combine record at 49.
The NFL Combine is set to kick off tomorrow when players have the chance to showcase their core athletic metrics. But if they have a good combine performance, this could really sway their landing spot and the position in which they're taken in the upcoming draft. And when you're looking to sell football cards, it's all about hype. However, this video goes into why the NFL Combine may seem like an important date on football card investors' calendars, but it doesn't have a built-in hype bump like the NFL Draft can offer. Let's examine some of the biggest NFL Combine freaks who turned out to be busts and examine why you shouldn't be expecting listing prices to soar before, during, and after the event. Let's dig in. Jerry Rice posted a slow 40-yard dash time at the 1985 NFL Scouting Combine. Granted, the internet has exaggerated his actual speed on that fateful day, but there's a lot of very prominent sports journalists that claim Jerry Rice ran a 4.640, a speed that likely dropped the Mississippi Valley State product down some draft boards. But of course, Jerry Rice became the greatest receiver to ever play the position with numbers that will likely never be matched by anybody, and he has one of the most iconic, expensive base rookie cards for a skill position player in the hobby today. He's a prime example of how combine stats lie, not only to fans but to scouts, coaches, and general managers in some cases. 2 wide receivers were selected in the 1985 draft before Jerry Rice. Imagine being the scout that told the New York Jets or the Cincinnati Bengals that Rice wasn't worth a top 15 pick.
You're fired!
Oh, baby!
If you enjoy our style of content here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that little bell notification icon so you don't miss a single step on the quest. And like the video if you like it. Back to the action. At the opposite end of the spectrum were NFL Combine freaks who were workout warriors and who flashed blinding speed and superhero strength during drills, but who couldn't hang when tasked with competing against pros during meaningful games. College players trained for months with specialists and at camp specifically to win the combine. That reality explains why the draft process remains imperfect. Jamarcus Russell is arguably the biggest draft bust in NFL history, but he made a huge impression at the 2007 Combine. So much so that scouts claimed Russell is going to be a hard talent to pass up. Few quarterbacks have entered any draft with this type of arm strength. ESPN personality Todd McShay added to the hype. I can't remember being in such an awe of a quarterback in the decade. Jamarcus Russell's passing session was the most impressive of all the pro days that he had been to. Jamarcus Russell made 25 starts and 31 appearances over 3 seasons for the Oakland Raiders, the franchise that drafted him first overall in 2007. He never caught on with a different team. At the time when first released, whether they were of him in his college uniform or in his pro uniform, I'm sure those cards were considerably expensive, and now you can get those cards for just a couple dollars in some really nice grades as well. By now, the rise and fall of Oklahoma State wide receiver Justin Blackmon is well known among all within the NFL community. Justin Blackmon ran between a 4.39 and a 4.46 40 at the 2012 Combine, depending on who was holding what watch, and that speed combined with ideal size for somebody at the position impressed onlookers. The Jags drafted Blackmon 5th overall, but no drills or races could have predicted the personal issues and multiple violations of the NFL's policy and program for substance abuse that would sink his career after only 20 games. At the time, Blaine Gabbert, going into just his second year, would have been hyped up big time. His rookie cards would have been elevated based on this draft selection of Justin Blackmon. And I'm sure that Justin Blackmon's college rookie cards and his initial NFL cards that came out had an all-time premium, were worth a bunch of money at the time. They were hyped up, as well as Blaine Gabbert going into his second year. But now you look at the values of even Blaine Gabbert, who's got a chance to start for my Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year in 2022. Yet to be seen, are still extremely cheap. So it's very important to remember that the combine is illustrating their athletic abilities in a vacuum. but it doesn't speak for all the other factors that go into being a successful NFL player over the long run. Deion Sanders speculated Kevin White, wide receiver, may have just ran himself into being a top 10 pick after the speedster clocked in with a 4.35 40 at the 2015 Combine. That's exactly what happened, as the Chicago Bears selected him 7th overall. Sadly, Kevin White spent more time as an injured spectator than an active participant over what should have been the first 3 seasons of his career. Jay Cutler would have been the Bears' quarterback at the time, receiving all the hype from Kevin White's Combine performance. But now you can get Jay Cutler rookie auto cards for a fraction of what they were back then, and Kevin White rookie cards for a fraction of that, being that he's a skill position player and a much bigger bust. So extremely rare cards from Kevin White that were at the time $40, $50, $100 are now just a couple dollars. Let's bring this full circle and talk about how the Malik Willises and the Matt Corrals and the Treylon Burks and the Garrett Wilsons of this week's Combine is going to affect the football card market. So the first and most obvious thing is that none of these guys have active rookie cards out, yet they will have licensed collegiate draft picks prisms rookie cards here at the end of March. And I myself am very tempted at buying one of these hobby boxes on pre-sale. It's 10 packs, 4 cards per pack, 40 cards, but at $250, this is going to be the first officially licensed cards for these new athletes. Plus, the same exact design is going to be used for the NFL prisms that are being released later in April and May. So I think these are going to have significant value for the rookies, and I think it's a flippable product. I just don't want you guys to get caught up in thinking that these are long-term investments. These are not long-term investments, in my opinion, for the reasons that we've seen about how easy it is for a player to become a bust. But once their official NFL license product comes out with their professional team uniform, their NFL uniform, these collegiate cards are going to drop value. We've seen it historically time and time again. You can reference the video, I'll link in the description. So just another tidbit to be aware of when watching the Combine this week and getting excited about the upcoming draft. I think what the Combine is doing a great job of is highlighting the most athletic and electric players in the NFL at a core athleticism standpoint, and it's getting people excited about the draft. It's also getting people to reflect on the season, watching other highlights and film studies of active players in the NFL that have rookie cards out in the marketplace now. And I think, this is leading to an up market for a lot of players. I think you can see that if you've been really watching the auctions lately on eBay, you've been watching the sold items, I think you're seeing prices kind of slowly go up. And it depends on how scarce the card is. It's a lot harder for a base optic or base Donruss rated rookie from 2020 to go up in value on a skill position player than it is from 2016 or 2017 because of the scarcity differences and the print run differences. But when you look at a comparable print run card from 2020 and that of one from 2016 or 2017, now you can see that people are definitely competing in these auctions and the fair market value of these players and cards are going up, and some of them are probably going to go up dramatically. Not only the NFL draft, but the start of the new league year, March 16th, is going to lead to a lot of team changes. So new team signings, free agency is going to be a big deal. Stay tuned for my free agency rankings coming up soon. Leave me a comment and let me know who you think is the biggest NFL Combine bust of all time. I want to give a very special shout out to one of our patrons, David Hunter, who's inspired the idea for this video. And this guy is always looking out for other investors and collectors in the hobby. Guys, make sure you go follow David on Instagram at Sports Card Collector HQ. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and I believe that is where he is most active. Or you can join our Patreon Discord server, and you can chat with him in there. He's got years and years and years of experience. He actually also writes articles for the sports card space, has been published on Sports Card Investor's website, and does some other articles for the Comeback Card Investor as well. So, guys, yeah, check him out. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. I'll see you in that next one. Peace.